long time no see. I'm Hunter, he's Brett. Real Rendezvous Podcast.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
Back in the saddle.
Oh, man.
Like Aerosmith.
Is that a song that they have?
Yeah, they suck.
Damn.
Hot take. Aerosmith, most overrated band of all time.
My goodness.
Hey, you want to get the people's attention?
Starting off hot.
After the long hiatus?
My God.
Yeah.
I have no opinion on Aerosmith. I couldn't tell you a single song. Well, I can now. Back in the saddle.
So, that song, it's not a bad song. They got some good ones. They did a nice cover of a Beatles song. The only good Beatles song, actually, ended up being like the only good Aerosmith song.
I think they make fun of Aerosmith in the Dirt.
Oh, really?
The Motley Crue movie.
Okay.
I could be wrong about that, but I distinctly remember something about that.
Okay, starting off with a rabbit hole here, but Steven Tyler's daughter, actress Liv Tyler, very, very pretty. You know how I started watching Lord of the Rings the other night?
Is she in that?
Yeah, she's Arwen, an elven. If anybody listens to this and likes Lord of the Rings, they'll roast me because I don't know what her title is as an elf, but she's an elf something. But anyways, I digress. What's going on, man?
Not a whole ton. You'd think with it having been so long, I'd have more to talk about. And I probably technically do. I was talking to someone. I did a job interview the other day. I was telling you about that. And he was like, oh, tell me. I fucking hate when they're like, tell me something about yourself. Because I am the worst person at describing myself.
Yeah.
Or like the things that I do.
Yeah.
Like if you ask me about like something I did like over the weekend, I will blank out on you. I could have gone to like Antarctica on an expedition and I would come back and they'd be like, oh, what'd you do this weekend? I'd be like, I think I had some Doritos at some point. Like, I'm just so bad at it. So something probably did happen that I could talk about, but I can't think of it right now. But I've been good.
You need to come up with like go-to responses.
Yeah.
Like, and just cement those in
I'm just
your
going to start
mind.
lying. I'm just going to start making up wild stories.
That would be even more fun.
About myself.
Yeah, that would be even more fun.
Brett, what'd you do this weekend? Oh, well, actually, I did conquer Mount Everest. First person to do it on a unicycle, too. So I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah, it was cold.
Cold as fuck.
Yeah, it has been cold tonight. It's been very cold.
Out of fucking nowhere, too.
Yeah, no doubt. I usually just tell people, like, I like to watch football and in my spare time go to concerts. That's pretty much it, Not usually like, oh, okay, he's kind of interesting.
Any cool concerts recently? I don't remember. You went to one not too long ago because we had Tatum, right?
Yeah, where did we go? I can't remember. Yeah, but it was, any concerts I go to are cool. So that's all you need to know, right?
I guess.
So, Brett, what brings us back in the saddle
What brings us back in the saddle?
What movie brought us back from the dead?
Guys, today, I'm so honored to be telling you that we are talking about Madam Web. Her web connects them all. And today, ladies and gentlemen, it connects us.
We should have, looked up the tagline and, dropped it.
It is. Her web connects them all is the tagline.
That
That's the film's tagline.
Yes, dude.
And today it connects us. Madam Web, a movie so groundbreaking. It brought us out of our early retirement.
If that tells you any of the quality of this film, I literally thought you just came up with that tagline right now in your head.
That's so funny. No, that is the official tagline. It is Her Web Connects Them All.
Yeah, so this movie's been out.
And by her web, they mean they live on the same block. That connects them all.
Yeah, a couple of them in the same apartment.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this movie's been out about 2 weeks now.
Mm-hmm. Came out on Valentine's Day.
Yeah. So not getting great reviews. We'll get to our hot takes on the movie here in a little bit. But I would like to start the podcast off with a little bit of an apology. Our hiatus is mostly due to me. I don't really have a good reason why.
Yeah, I was so excited to throw him under the bus for this one. Because let it be known, let me put it on the record right here. All right, it's been almost a year since we've done an episode.
Wow.
And that is not from lack of me trying.
Yeah, Brett was kicking the door down.
Every time we would hang out. Not every time, because sometimes it is nice to just hang out without having to worry about, making an episode. That's fine. I totally get that. But everyone, I'd be like, hey, maybe you want to record something? Nah.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't want to do that.
So,
but Hunter wants to do an episode, and guess where we're fucking at?
But you could have said no. I mean,
but I didn't want to. I like being here.
yeah, I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't. Yeah, I just, like I said, I don't really have a good excuse other than, you get X amount of time and sometimes you end up spending it doing other things. And then when you miss certain things, you're like, man, I should try and record a podcast.
Yeah,
again.
no, I'm not. I joke. I understand that thing. There's you got work. You got the kid. We don't gotta.
Well, you get like random streaks of laziness, and mine lasted about a year. So, but we're back. That's all that matters.
We are. And it is so good to be. I don't know if you could tell.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah. How excited were you when I texted you and was like, dude, let's review Madam Web for our comeback episode?
Ecstatic for so many reasons. One, I was happy to just do an episode again because I had missed the show. I don't know. I'm gonna out myself for a second here. When I texted you about the fact that you were still paying for Buzzsprout, I was trying to coax me. I was kind of sort of trying to guilt trip you into like.
I don't even remember what my response was.
You said you didn't care because you have like so many other subscriptions that you don't use but haven't stopped paying for.
Wow, that sounds so irresponsible of me, especially whenever I'm like preaching to you about what to do with your money.
Yeah.
Who am I to say fucking anything?
But no, I was so happy because I was like, one, I'm just glad that we're going to do an episode again. Two, I just think this is the perfect movie to get going back into because everything that we were hearing about it, I was like, this is going to be fun.
Yeah,
it's going to be a fun watch. It's going to be a fun discussion.
Not to spoil the review, but it really was. It was at the end of the day, a film's goal is to entertain.
Dude,
by God, it entertained.
We were in that theater fucking cackling.
I'm gonna tell you right now. The rewatchability factor is higher than some movies that I love.
Through the roof.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about this. But yeah, and just to tell on myself a little bit, not only being lazy, but also, you try to put the effort into something and it doesn't work out great. And, you just think like, I'm spinning my wheels a little bit here. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If you enjoy doing something, just go ahead and do it,
Yeah.
And that's a big reason why we got into doing this podcast in the first place. We didn't care if anybody fucking listened. We just wanted to do it because we thought it'd be fun, which it is.
And to give ourselves something to listen back to and cringe later.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, man, honestly, like, I don't think I've ever really gotten upset with us that much. There's been a time or two.
No, not upset. Yeah. That's because you're so cool and suave. I sound fucking stupid all the time.
Nah, no way, man. You got the... Let's talk a little bit about what you've had going on as far as, your acting and outgoing things you were in a play.
Wow. Yeah. I was in a production of Carrie the Musical.
Yeah.
Up in PA. Just great time, great people. Just an amazing atmosphere. I think we put on a really good show. I was really excited about it.
I got to watch some of it. Alyssa found, I guess, was it on YouTube? Is that where
it is? Not for everybody. It's just we couldn't. We didn't have the rights to share it with the public, but like just to show privately amongst the.
Yeah, I got to watch most of it.
But it is up there. If you want the link to it, I can give it to you.
Okay.
If you wanted to watch more of it.
Yeah, I watched most of it with her, and you guys did great. And I'm kind of bringing that up like you serve a great purpose here on this podcast. You are the color guy, so. I just try and I told Brett a long time ago, it's like watching a good football broadcast. You have the two commentators, one's play-by-play, one's color. Brett's definitely color.
Oh, 100% color.
Yeah.
I was, when I told you I was applying for, because I thought it was an office job, then I found out it was a Ponzi scheme.
it was like the girls that sell Arbonne and like, what's the makeup? Like Mary Kay and shit.
But I have this button up, this short sleeve button up with lobsters on it. It's navy blue. It has red lobsters all over it. I fucking love that shirt. I'm gonna burp.
Okay, go ahead.
Damn. Sorry.
That's all right.
I muted my mic so that it wouldn't be as loud, and I turned away, and I guarantee you could still hear that.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
But I wore my lobster shirt, and everyone I saw that day before I went to the interview, which was just my dad and Kaylee, they're like, "Why did why are you wearing that fucking lobster shirt to this job interview? This is serious shit, Brett.
Yeah.
Stop. But I was in the interview, and the first thing the guy said to me was, I love that shirt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day,
I was pretty proud of it.
At the end of the day, sometimes it all works out. You didn't want the fucking job after you found out what kind of bullshit it was anyway.
But I nailed those interviews. But Kaylee was like, if you get this job, you are 100% going to be a personality hire.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, I'm okay with that. Getting hired for my personality is kind of exactly what I want for the rest of my life. So.
You've had that riz for a while, so it's not a bad thing.
So that's what I'm. I take it as a compliment.
Yeah, for sure, bro. We have a few things that we typically want to, brush up on, a little bit of movie news. So I guess like starting off, something kind of big. Maybe you've heard of it. Deadpool and Wolverine trailer dropped during the Super Bowl. I didn't.
Yeah, I think I might have heard something about that.
Like, I didn't after they started with that, I was like, I really don't care about the game anymore.
Yeah, did they start with that? I was working, so I didn't get to see it during the game. But
well, we were on our way home, and I was doing bad things. I had the Super Bowl pulled up on my YouTube TV app on my phone, and it just said trailer online. Like, it had a mini trailer.
Oh, and
like
then
a 30-second thing,
you.
and said trailer online. So as soon as I got home, I looked it up, and I shit everywhere.
You sent me that. I was like,
yeah,
it's definitely a way to say that.
Dude, they just it's hilarious because Deadpool has had no footprint on the MCU at all yet. Mm-hmm. And B, the MCU is drowning.
Yeah,
right
things
now.
are a little rocky.
Very, very. People are not only are they putting out pretty stale products of the past 2 years, but people are bored with the MCU. Dare I say, they're kind of over it, and it's just the reaction on like movie Twitter.
Yeah, and I feel like it's only going to get worse because the whole thing they were banking this whole slate on, they can't.
Yeah,
gone with that. Not doing that anymore.
Yeah, so this might be the shot in the arm that the MCU needs.
Yeah.
And, you talk about, like, perfect cast roles. Ryan Reynolds has played Wade Wilson in every movie he's ever been in. So the dude was born to be Deadpool. And this trailer was great, man. I know you were saying you wish they'd showed Wolverine a little more, which we all would like to see Wolverine.
Well, I have this thing specifically about trailers for things that I know are gonna sell.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like this movie didn't need a trailer at all.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone's gonna go see Deadpool 3. It's the same way I feel about the GTA 6 trailer that they put out, right?
Yeah.
It's like everyone was already gonna buy GTA 6. If you bought GTA 5 and you liked it, you were gonna get 6. That's so when a lot of people were like, "Oh, that was a great trailer," I was like, "Well, yeah, but I already knew that, right?" So it's like, if a trailer's job is to sell me something, if I'm already sold on that something, then I need a trailer that wows me instead.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, I was already stoked for Deadpool 3, still am, and it was a good trailer, but it didn't wow me, is what I was talking about earlier in the car.
Okay. It wowed me. I thought the trailer was great. It did things that I always talk about in trailers, and me and you talked about this earlier. I think that a lot of Jordan Peele movies have great trailers, whereas they show you the leads. They give they always have like cool intertwining of like soundtrack or like sampled music or something, and they kind of just give you hints of some of the high points in the movie and give you a rough idea of what the film is about, but never spilling its guts on everything. Like, there's a lot of trailers nowadays that just show way too much.
Yeah, we were talking about earlier, I feel like the art of the trailer has been sort of lost.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes, like I was saying, I want to be wowed, but I also don't want the whole movie just like spoon-fed to me through a trailer, because then why would I go watch it? So it is a, it's a nuanced, delicate balance. I couldn't give you pointers for what I would have preferred to see.
Yeah.
But I just know, it's just sort of a feeling.
Yeah, I think the tease at the conclusion of the trailer with Wolverine just barely being shown is cool, even though we've all seen the leaked pictures.
That's what I was going to... Well, because some of them aren't leaks. That was an official... The really HD one, that's an official release.
Oh, okay.
Which is why I thought it was kind of weird that there wasn't... That they're, like, pretending that he's, like, a big reveal when he's not. Yeah. They've already shown us... And then on top of the leaks, you know, we've already seen a lot of him. So for the trailer... Now, if we hadn't seen that... Like, if it was just the leaks and then the trailer's job was to, like... You know, they're not going to talk about the leaks because they don't want people to know they exist. But if they hadn't done that official reveal of the suit and, like, of the premise, then I think the tease of Wolverine would have hit way harder.
Oh, it definitely would have. And, you know, some of that might be... Maybe they didn't anticipate that official picture coming out prior to the teaser trailer. We don't know what all could have happened behind the scenes and how things are organized and distributed. But yeah, I'm pumped up about it. You know, I think, like I said, I just think it's the shot in the arm that the MCU needs.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm ready to see what kind of graphic and over the top sequences, action, whatever else they bring to the MCU.
Yeah, so. I feel like I'm I feel like I'm being too negative about it. I like the trailer. I love the trailer, and I'm really like. I love that we got a glimpse of Patch. I think that's going to be... I really hope... There's a theory that it's not going to be Hugh Jackman, and I really hope that's true. I really hope we get to see some more variants and with some more actors. Especially, I love the idea... And this is something that a lot of people wanted them to do with Multiverse of Madness. And they kind of did do in Multiverse of Madness. I love the idea of using fan casts as like alternate versions of characters.
Yeah.
Which is what they did with John Krasinski as Reed Richards in Multiverse of Madness. So if Patch is like revealed to be like Taron Egerton or like Daniel Radcliffe, which are like two huge picks for MC Wolverine, I think that would be great.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really fun.
Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be upset about the passing of the torch, which needs to happen with a character like Wolverine. You know, Hugh Jackman, not saying he can't do it anymore, but it's just there needs to be new life in the character, just like the rest of the X-Men in general. And same thing with Fantastic Four, which I guess we could parlay into that.
We can. That was a good segue. That was tight.
So also the Fantastic Four official cast has been revealed, which was teased a lot.
So much. Well, I was thinking about this, right?
Go ahead.
Let's put this... Sorry, I don't mean to keep taking it from
you.
No,
you're fine.
Let's put this into perspective real quick. Almost 2 years ago, we were sitting at this very table talking about rumored Fantastic Four castings.
Yeah.
With the Fancast episode. The entire reason we made the Fancast episode was to capitalize on the buzz of people, of all the like, there was a new leak.
That was a good fucking episode.
Dude, I love that episode.
That was a good idea.
I love the idea for that episode. I listened back to it.
Yeah.
I don't
Our structure sucks when we
our
do
structure wasn't great. I personally was just like back in those early episodes, I was a lot less confident in just like the way that I spoke. So there were a few things that I said that I just like don't understand why I said them, or like things I don't like, nothing like controversial, but just like, I was like, what are you fucking talking about?
Brett, you liar.
I know, right? Like, but granted, dude, I have such a just like the things that I think and feel change so fucking often that it's like kind of hard to like I think I would be terrible in interviews because people would like bring something up. They'd be like, well, in this interview from a few years ago, you said this, that, and that. And I'm like, oh, nah, fuck that guy. That's not. I don't know why I said that.
A thing a lot of people forget is like we're all human beings and opinions change.
But what was I talking about?
About Fantastic Four.
Yeah. So that whole episode was to capitalize on the buzz of like, because every week there was a new leak of oh, we finally have it. We finally pegged down the Fantastic Four cast. It was like a running gag at a certain point. And then now, fast forward, we're here and it's finally over. We've put it to rest. The Fantastic Four cast has been announced officially. We have them. They put out a gorgeous hand-drawn poster.
I was about to
love that poster.
Elaborate on the way they announced officially the cast.
So on Valentine's Day, they dropped a beautiful comic art style poster for the Fantastic Four movie. We got a new logo. We, of course, got the cast. And then what I think is a glimpse at what the suits are going to look like. I hope so. I hope that's what the suits look like. because the whole deal with this movie is that it's set in the 60s.
Well, I was going to say, and not to interject, but just real quick, you talking about the logo and the way the look was with the poster was very golden age.
Yes.
You know, like
and that is
Jack
on
Kirby.
Yes, and that's completely on purpose.
Yeah. Steve Ditko, you know, some of the OG, triple OGs.
Yeah. So, because it's set in the 60s, it's Marvel's first family. They're going down that route. We're going to see... I'm interested to see if this is going to be... Because the Fantastic Four is huge, right? I feel like a lot of people undersell the importance and the impact of the Fantastic Four.
Right.
But I'm interested to see if it is set in the 60s, because that's technically a rumor, but I mean, like, if you look at everything surrounding the movie.
Yeah.
But if it is set in the 60s, I'm interested to see if they're going to leave them there, right? Like, we get the Fantastic Four in the 60s. They might get a few sequels also set in the preceding decades, but they're going to stay in their own bubble, or if they're going to pull some, like, timey-wimey shit and, get them to come hang out with our current heavy hitters. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think I would prefer if they kept them in the 60s and just let them be their own thing.
Yeah.
That predates all the other stuff in the MCU.
I was going to agree.
Yeah.
Almost do a, like Matt Reeves, the Batman with the DCU.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let it be its own thing and breathe its own, breath.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that.
Like, it would still technically be in the MCU, but it's just like, they're the first family. They came before everything we know as the MCU.
If it's a hit, I don't think they'll do that, though.
No, I think if it rakes in the numbers they want it to, there's no way they're not going to multiverse their asses into the modern day.
Talk about the cast, specifically who they are. We haven't even said who they are.
Yes. So the Fantastic Four official MCU cast. We have Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards.
Oh, you fucked up. You should have saved him for last. He's like the big name.
What?
Nah,
well, he was the first one announced.
Yeah.
He was officially announced before any of the rest of the cast.
Well, he was like the first big rumored character, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people share this sentiment. It's not like we don't think he can do it, but it's just kind of like it feels like just the other stuff we've seen from Pedro Pascal. It's like, that's a weird choice, kind of.
I don't think it's a weird choice, because I think Pedro Pascal might be like number one leading man in Hollywood right now.
Oh yeah,
and that's why
he's
they went after him. Oh yeah, he's done no wrong in the last 2 years.
No, don't get me wrong. I love Pedro Pascal. I'm excited to see him in the role, and the artwork really boosted my confidence for him in that role. But just when you hear it on paper, it's kind of like, Pedro Pascal is Reed Richards. It's kind of okay. We'll see where this goes.
Yeah,
that sort of thing. So he was the first one announced before they did the poster. But then these last three we found out from the poster, which, granted, we all knew this months in advance, because this exact cast was sort of the one that stuck when the rumor mill ended. They were like, all right, guys, this is it. Here's our final rumor on the Fantastic Four cast, because, before it was rumors of just like hearsay, but then it started getting into like contracts were leaking, right? People knew that they were actively in talks with Marvel.
Yeah.
So we've got Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman. I don't know anything about her. Apparently she's pretty cool. She was in she's Fast and Furious and Mission Impossible.
Yeah, that's what I know her from. She's kind of a second-rate character in the Mission Impossible movies. But I think as far as like looks go, she looks great.
Sue Storm is one of those, like, they got a very attractive blonde woman to play her.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she's going to do a great job.
Yeah.
I actually saw an edit of Vanessa Kirby, like scenes of her stuff from Mission Impossible and Fast and Furious, and she kicks some ass.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping they lean into that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I want to see Sue Storm, like, do some shit.
Yeah.
You know? I don't want her to just be Jessica Alba,
Yeah, eye candy.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that. Then we've got my fucking boy, Eben Moss-Backrack. Is the thing.
Yeah.
I was when that got rumored, when that was like in talks and like floating around Twitter, I was like, please God, let it be him.
Yeah.
Because the two previous rumors were either Seth Rogen, which in previous episodes I've been very vocally against.
Yeah,
him
you
as
would
the
have hated
thing.
that. Yeah.
And then Daveed Diggs, which I don't know if you know who Daveed Diggs is. I know him from Hamilton. He was Thomas Jefferson and Lafayette in Hamilton, which he's great. I love Daveed Diggs. Most recently to me, because like actors are always doing something or other. Most recently to me, he was Sebastian in the Little Mermaid remake.
Oh, okay.
And that was kind of hit or miss. There were parts where he sounded great, and there were parts where it was kind of off. I didn't mind him. I thought that'd be a fine pick. But when they were dropping Eben Moss Backrack's name as you know, maybe he might be the thing, I was like, please let him be the thing. Mm-hmm. Because this is one of the things I was talking about specifically when I was like, why did I say that? What am I talking about? In the Fancast episode, I was like, they need a comedian to play the thing because he's a funny guy. What? I don't know what I meant by that. Because the Thing's not a not funny guy, but he's not like a comedian. He's a snarky guy, you know. He drops one-liners. He's like, but he's got a chip on his shoulder, you know. Mm-hmm. And for anyone out there listening that's seen The Bear, oh fuck,
That's the second time I've done that.
Anyone out there who's seen The Bear, you know that Eben Moss Backrack is just perfect for the Thing.
Yeah,
he might as well be Ben Grimm in The Bear, right? So they're from Chicago. But there's a lot of overlap between like gruff New York and gruff Chicago, right? Okay. In terms of just like playing as a character. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of mannerisms and stuff that sort of overlap there. And so if you've seen The Bear, you just know he's perfect for this. So I was really excited when that was stamped down.
This is his second Marvel stint.
Yes, he was Microchip in The Punisher.
Right.
Yes. Which I didn't watch The Punisher all the way through.
Yeah,
no particular reason. I just didn't get around to it. I'm not a TV guy.
Well, it wasn't like I disliked it. Mm-hmm. I actually really enjoy The Punisher. I really think Jon Bernthal is great as The Punisher.
Actor. Yeah, there is no reason I didn't watch that show. I just didn't.
Yeah.
I never finished Daredevil. I didn't watch season 3, which is apparently like the best one. So I'm missing out. But
I want to say one more thing about Eben.
Yeah. Yes.
Eben Moss Backrack.
Yes.
I know him mostly from his short stint on Andor. He is a character on Andor.
Oh, okay. Andor is another thing I have not watched yet.
I don't think it'd be as much your vibe. It's a very good show. I think I've talked about it on here before.
Well, I like good shows. Yeah, so I think it's pretty...
I'm just saying it's a little bit more of a slow burn type. The first 3 episodes specifically, but when it cranks up after, like about halfway through that 3rd episode, and then later in the season, there's a whole other sequence with like Andy Serkis.
Yes,
where they're like breaking
in the prison.
That whole sequence is great. But Eben Moss Backrack is in that first like 3 episode stint.
No A. Not Backa. Just
Backrack.
Yeah.
I told Brett that there was like an old singer from like the 70s or something named Burt Bacharach, and that's why I keep wanting to say that. But anyways, he was great in that show. A lot of like double crossing, conniving, spy stuff.
That's cool. I might have to check that out because I have some friends that are obsessed with Andor.
Yeah, don't let the first 2 episodes lose you. They're very slow.
And I love what's his name? Gabriel Luna? Is that him? Or no, Diego
Luna. I think is it.
Yeah. I gotta check that out. I gotta watch Andor.
Yeah. So go on with the final casting.
And then finally, Joseph Quinn is Johnny Storm, the Human Torch.
Yeah. Not much to elaborate on him.
I'm proud of him. I'm good for him.
So Brett, in case nobody knows, he's the only human being on planet Earth to not watch Stranger Things. Joseph Quinn really blew up as Eddie Munson, a character that was introduced in season 4 of Stranger Things and became a fan favorite. And I loved Eddie Munson because he's like the local metalhead at the high school, wearing his heavy metal shirt and his back patches, and he plays guitar and everything. And he had that riz. He has a lot of charisma. The thing I don't like about him being cast is I don't think he's super good looking. But
that's mean.
Hey, Joseph Quinn, you're ugly.
Damn.
Nah, he's a good looking guy.
Starting beef on the pod.
Nah, he's a good looking guy, and I think his biggest selling point for being the Human Torch is we always see the Human Torch kind of depicted as like this quick-witted, confident type individual that is a little bit of a ladies' guy, and Joseph Quinn is great at being quick-witted and funny and confident. So I like that casting.
Yeah, I was sort of joshing when I did that. I don't know. I don't know if it picked up over the microphone. I was feigning. I was pretending I was upset about it. There's a lot of people that I would have preferred to him. He was another one like that was like pretty much set in stone like years ago. Like he was like he's always been throughout every rumor. He has been front runner.
I remember when that first got rumored. It was a long time ago.
Like Sue, Reed, and Thing have like revolving door of just like different names being thrown at the wall.
Yeah,
Joseph Quinn has pretty much been confirmed since the moment the movie was announced.
Yeah.
And I really do mean it when I say I'm proud of him. You know, this is probably going to be a huge thing for him because I really only know that he's been in Stranger Things. I'm sure he's done other stuff maybe. Mm-hmm. But I think this can be huge for him. I just, I don't know anything about him. I didn't watch Stranger Things. The clips I've seen of Stranger Things and his character doesn't really seem like my vibe. He seemed kind of annoying.
He's great.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll take your word for it. I'm personally butthurt because I really, really fucking wanted it to be Ross Lynch. I wanted Ross Lynch to be the Human Torch so bad.
Why Ross Lynch?
Oh, dude, he's great.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. He basically played Johnny Storm in Austin and Alley.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever watched Austin and Alley. Great show.
No, I didn't.
Shout out Austin and Alley.
I didn't grow up on watching that trash Disney Channel horse shit.
Jesus.
Cartoon Network or die.
All right. I guess.
So, Ross Lynch, the only familiarity I have with him is he's in a band, right?
Yes, and he's a fucking rock star, dude.
Well,
which is like that's the energy I need from Johnny Storm.
Dude, like I said, Stranger Things, man. You got to see Eddie Munson.
No, but Eddie Munson isn't a rock star. He's a groupie. Yeah. Eddie Munson wants to be a rock star.
Okay.
All right, but Ross Lynch just is.
Well, Ross Lynch also has a pretty big role in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Oh, does he?
Which was a show on Netflix that me and Alyssa watched like 7/8 of. We just never finished it for some fucking reason. But it was a pretty good show, too.
Yeah, but not only does he have that just like natural, that riz, he also just has like, which you don't really, no offense to the MCU, you don't really need huge chops to like get by in the MCU.
Yeah.
But Ross Lynch does have them. I don't know if you ever watched, this is pre-Evan Peters. Ross Lynch was in a movie about Jeffrey Dahmer. Mm-hmm. So on the Netflix show, which I never watched because I'm not into watching that shit.
I'm not obsessed with serial killers.
Not super
either.
interested in like watching the bad stuff that they did in gruesome detail.
I never watched it either.
But before Evan Peters, they made a movie. It's called My Friend Dahmer.
Yeah,
and it's about his like teenage years before he did any of the weird shit. Right. So, okay, weird is an understatement. I should say it's a little bit more than just kind of... Jeffrey Dahmer was a little quirky.
Yeah, he had some odd things.
But Ross Lynch does a phenomenal job in that movie. It is really something special. And I just want to see him in more stuff, So I was really, really hoping it was going to be him, but... props to Joseph Quinn. I'm sure he's really excited about it, and I'm sure he's going to be fine.
So safe to say your favorite of all the castings is The Thing.
Yes, dude. I am so excited to see him in that role.
Even though I just called him ugly, I'm super hyped up about Joseph Quinn, mostly because. So here's my I was acting up there for a minute, but here's my stance on it, and then we'll move on. I really feel like Marvel is trying to thread the needle with these four castings. They have, three not... If I'm going to rank them as like what tier of kind of actors they are, Vanessa Kirby, she's a name most people would, maybe pick up on. But Eben Moss Backrack, Noé, he's still kind of up and coming. Mm-hmm. People are a little more familiar with him because The Bear is super popular. And then I feel like they're kind of hedging their bet with Joseph Quinn. He's got the opportunity to really become something now and cash in on all that hype he garnered from his character in Stranger Things, that lightning in the bottle. But they're hedging their bet with these three castings because they got like the number one A-list lead man right now in Pedro Pascal. So I think it's a good mixture. I think
it's a great cast.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
I think they're going to fit their roles well. I think, Pedro Pascal can pretty much do anything. Joseph Quinn played, a Johnny Storm-esque character on Stranger Things. Vanessa Kirby is blonde. Sorry, I'm sure there's a lot of Sue Storm fans out there that like know a lot more about her as a character.
In case anybody listening to this podcast doesn't find out later, Brett hates women.
No, okay. You can't just say that on the fucking air.
Spoiler on the Madam Web review.
I don't hate women. I love women very much. Some of my best friends are women.
We support women fully.
I'm a brother. I'm a son.
I'm a father.
He's a father of a woman.
Yeah, we support women. But anyways, this casting.
I just don't know a lot about Sue Storm, but I love Vanessa Kirby. Like seeing those clips of her, I was kind of upset when I found out she was a side character in those movies because I was like, oh, I want to see this. I want to see her do this shit. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, she's just then I'm not going to watch the whole Fast and Furious just to see her do like 3 cool things. It's
been so long since I watched both those franchises, but specifically the Mission Impossible franchise. Like, I love those movies. And I don't remember being disappointed with her performance in it.
Yeah, no, so, I'm really excited about it.
With that said, I
can't hate women. I'm one of the 7 people on the planet that really, really liked the Marvels.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier before we hit record. But yeah, so the Fantastic Four casting, a lot of high hopes for that. We have one last trailer we want to like brush up on real quick.
Dude, I completely forgot.
Yeah. Typical podcast style, about 40 minutes in, and we're still not getting to the review.
All right. We've been gone a while. We're having fun.
Yeah, we have a few things to talk about. So Borderlands, the long-running video game franchise. Can I say long-running? I mean, there's been...
You can say long-running.
There's been like at least 3 of them, right?
There's 3 mainline games and... 3 mainline games, 1 spin-off, and then a couple of re-releases.
Okay. Borderlands is a looter shooter franchise that gained a lot of popularity probably like... I'm going to say 2010, 2012, around that area.
It's a 360 maybe. Era.
Okay, so. Yeah. I never got into them. Brett, you said you never really played them?
No, I tried to play Borderlands 2 because it was like free with PlayStation Plus or something. Okay. Or there was like some sort of promotion where I have it on my PlayStation. Or maybe it was on sale. But it's just it wasn't meant to be. It's 1, I don't like first person shooters that much.
Yeah.
2, I don't like looter shooters that much. So it just really wasn't it wasn't in the cards for me to enjoy those games, but you can't deny the quality and the success that they've had.
Right. Yeah, I've said a lot on this podcast, I've noticed. I always was interested in the Borderlands franchise. I remember when the first one came out, I thought that the art style was so eye-catching and so interesting.
Yes, that's pretty much their like...
Especially presented in first-person shooter. And we've talked before about how, like, if you want to have a successful... If you want your game to look good, just do cel-shaded. Because,
it's timeless.
Yeah, seriously, man.
It cannot... Cel-shaded visuals cannot really age poorly.
There are cel-shaded games.
Psychonauts, the Sly Cooper franchise.
When did Psychonauts come out? Like 2003?
Psychonauts was original Xbox.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and these games still look great.
Dude, have you ever seen the game Mad World?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Isn't
Black and white.
Yeah, and then just the blood is still red.
I've never played it.
No, me neither, but it's like... that's how you know that like that's a good looking game when we can identify it on visuals alone.
So Borderlands is being developed into a movie,
a major motion picture.
Yes, good way to word it. I should have said that. My bad.
I'm a caller.
It dropped a trailer last week.
Yes,
and for 2 dorks that never really played the games, we're both sold on this trailer.
Dude. I think it looks great.
Me too.
I'm really excited for that.
I like the cast. The cast is pretty well rounded.
Yeah, I described it to Hunter after watching the trailer. It looks like it's going to be like R-rated Guardians.
Yeah, which would be awesome.
Which like that's going to be sick.
Yeah, I know that I was telling you like I don't really care for Kevin Hart, which he didn't hook me on the cast, but like Cate Blanchett, she's great. I love the fact, like, the biggest ace in the hole for me is Eli Roth is directing. And Eli Roth does great camp, cheese, violence, gore. Brett is unfamiliar with his past works.
Yeah,
but
the only Eli Roth movie I've seen is Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
But I will say, I didn't like that movie very much. But the violence was the best. The effects on that was the best part of the movie. So I think, if anything, they're definitely going to really capture that. But talking about the cast, I don't hate Kevin Hart. I don't love him.
Yeah.
He's always just kind of there for me. You know, it's like, oh, Kevin Hart's in this. Is he going to play Kevin Hart?
Yeah.
And he does. But I do know that recently he's been trying to move away from, you know, the typecasting of himself. And it looks like I watched Lift, right? And Lift is not a comedy. It's funny. Like, I was explaining this to Kaylee, right? Like, because it's kind of hard to, because every movie needs to be a little funny nowadays. Like, movies are like scared to not be funny anymore. And again, that's something the MCU sort of coined. Yeah. And that's what I said. That's why I said to Kaylee, I was like, no, it's not a comedy, but it's like, it's funny. It's MCU snark, right? But not like set up punchline like Adam Sandler level comedy. But he's the lead in that. He produced it, actually. It's his production company.
Oh, really?
It's fine. It's something, it's sort of feels like a fake movie that would play in the background of a real movie. Or like something you'd watch on an airplane.
He has his own production company?
Yeah, it's called Heartbeat. But Heart is spelled like
H-A-R-T.
Yeah.
Impressive.
But he's not like over the top Kevin Hart in that movie, and he does well. I think like I said, it's fine. You know, he's fine. And from the Borderlands trailer, it looks like he's bringing that sort of, because apparently his character in the games is one of like the only characters in the games that's like played straight. Like that's sort of his role in the games, is that he's like serious. Yeah. And so I think Kevin Hart said in like a press release or like an interview or something that he's not trying to make, Roland is the character's name, he's not trying to make Roland overly comedic. So it's nice to see him trying to, you know, spread his wings, branch out a little bit. And
I would be remiss too if we didn't bring up the casting of Jack Black.
Oh, as Claptrap? Phenomenal, dude. He was born for that shit.
Yeah, Jack
Black. He
Black,
sounds perfect.
He's great as any just like really off the wall, goofy, zany type.
Dude,
character.
Jack Black is a national treasure. Shout out Jack Black.
Yeah, shout out Jack Black. I love that guy.
National treasure. Kung Fu Panda 4, March.
Yeah,
dude.
I've never seen any of the Kung Fu Panda movies. Yeah, I feel like it'd be up my alley.
I didn't see 3, but 1 and 2 are really good.
Yeah, I love Jack Black. Fellow metalhead. He loves heavy metal. Yes, big time. Yeah, and also we were talking about that trailer. Everything, the visuals, everything looks really, really good and impressive. Hopefully, we didn't see all the good parts in the trailer. Yeah, but I'm a little cautious because it's made by Lionsgate, which they're kind of hit or miss.
Well, did Lionsgate do Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes, they did.
That movie's fantastic.
Well, and like I said, they're hit or miss. They were I think the original production company for John Wick. So,
yes, they were.
Yeah, so they're kind of here and there, but so yeah, Borderlands trailer. When did it say that movie comes out? Do you know?
August.
Okay.
I believe it said August.
Pretty excited for that one. One last thing that Brett wanted to touch base on real quick prior to us jumping into our riveting review for Madam Web. There was something you wanted to elaborate on with the People's Choice Awards.
Yeah, I'm going to be quick here. I'm going to rant about the People's Choice Awards for a second.
Elaborate was a nice way to put it.
So those People's Choice Awards was a few weeks ago, and you know they do their thing. It's an award show. They do their thing. They had 2 categories that rubbed me the wrong way, though. And this has nothing to do with anything. This is a personal vendetta that I'm putting on the air. They had, one of the categories was Best Action Star, right? And there were a few movies up for the nomination, but the 3 major ones up for that nomination were John Wick 4, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, and then Hunger Games: The Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes. All right, and then the specific people being nominated were, of course, Keanu Reeves, Tom Cruise, and Rachel Zegler. And I love Rachel Zegler. Let me get out ahead of this. I love Rachel Zegler. I thought she was great in Shazam 2. I think she's going to be really good as Snow White. I think that's going to be fun. I haven't seen her in anything else.
I haven't seen her in anything except for Hunger Games.
But and I'm sure she did great. A lot of people like that movie.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't a bad movie.
She won Best Action Star. And I asked Hunter. Hunter saw that movie. I didn't see that movie, so I'm not going to pretend that I did. But Hunter saw Hunger Games: Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And from his recollection, She doesn't do a whole lot of actioning in that movie.
Yeah, I don't think she did a whole lot of. Yeah, she didn't roll down a bunch of stairs. I'll tell you.
She
that
didn't
much.
roll down a bunch of stairs. She didn't. She's not John Wick. Most importantly, even because obviously I wanted Keanu to win that. Most importantly, when you think action star, it's fucking Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
He drove a motorcycle off of a cliff.
Yeah, she's not Ethan Hunt either.
Like, that's just crazy. I'm proud of her. I'm excited for her. I'm sure that was like a great moment for her because I think she might be fairly new as well. I'm not gonna set that in stone because I don't know, but I feel like I haven't heard about her past like before Shazam and then now Hunger Games. I actually do know something else she was in. I'm pretty sure she was in the West Side Story movie that came out not too long ago. I haven't seen it yet. I need to watch that because I really like musicals, and it's also got what's his name? Ansel Elgort, Baby Driver.
Yeah, Ansel Elgort.
Yeah, he's in that. I think it's him and her, and they're the two leads. So she's great. I love her. Crazy. The people choosing are. We need to get a new group of people.
We need to talk to this group of people.
We need to talk to the people that are choosing, and we need to ask them where their priorities are.
Yeah. What the fuck?
So that's that one. Again, I love you, Rachel Zegler. If you're listening, I'm glad you won that award.
I'm sure she's like one of our 4 listeners.
But you did not drive a motorcycle off of a cliff.
Her and Joseph Quinn.
And Best Action Star was not a good fit for you in the movie you were being nominated for. But I still love you. Please don't hate me. She actually does interact with fans a lot. There's a guy I follow on Instagram. I followed him for a long time. His name's Eunice. I originally started following him because he did Flash CW content when that was huge. And now he's just sort of like a figure in the comic book Twitter and Instagram space. And he's like, he loves her. He thinks she's like the most beautiful girl on the planet, which she's not. No, fuck. No. I mean, she's not pretty. I don't know where I was going with that.
She's pretty.
But he would always make posts about her, and then eventually she started like talking back to him.
Oh,
it was really funny.
Yeah.
And then they eventually met. So it was great watching that like being there for that to see like going from just like tweeting and posting about the celebrity and then like following the story to like him meeting her. So that was pretty fun. Shout out Eunice.
Shout out Eunice.
Where was I going with this?
I don't know.
Fuck no! Come on. Well,
there was something else with the People's Choice Awards that you wanted to rant about.
No, I know, but it's gonna bug me. What was my thought process?
I don't know.
That's embarrassing.
And it's gone.
That's embarrassing, and it's gone. We're moving on. There's nothing I can do about it. We're moving on. The other thing about the People's Choice Awards that rubbed me the wrong way is they had Best TV Show was a category, and the nominees were The Bear, Some Other Stuff, and then
some other stuff. My vote was with Some Other Stuff.
And then yeah, dude, season 2 of Some Other Stuff. That's some of the best television you'll ever see.
Yeah, it's insane.
But it was The Bear, Some Other Stuff, and then Grey's Anatomy and Law and Order. And I was mad because one, The Bear should have won because The Bear is a phenomenal TV show, as I've said many times this episode, and maybe in the past. I don't know. Was The Bear out the last episode we made?
I don't know.
I think it might have been. I don't know if we mentioned it. Shout out The Bear. Watch that show if you haven't already. But Grey's Anatomy won, and I'm just mad about it. Not that I think Grey's Anatomy is a bad show, but I just think it's unfair for shows that have been going on that long to like be able to win that award if they haven't like done something groundbreaking with whatever new season had come out.
Right.
Like Law and Order. How long has Law and Order been on?
Well, both those shows are some of the longest running active shows.
Yeah, and The Bear is only like 2 years old. So that's like...
How many seasons does The Bear have? 2?
Yeah, it's 2, and then the 3rd season is filming right now. So it's been a season a year so far.
Yeah.
Which is just like, that's like putting kindergartners up against like college professors for awards. That's not fair.
Yeah.
They should have 2 categories, which are best TV show for stuff that's like, less than 3 years old. And then like best long running show. Yeah. And then you can give the award to Grey's Anatomy won. Then you can give the award to Grey's Anatomy. And
it's like
it'll all be fine. So I just felt it was lame to put something that's been on that long to up against something newer and then giving it to the like what?
Yeah, it's like the two legacy shows are just products of a tried and true rinse and repeat
Yeah,
formula.
it's a formula. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that made me mad. Again, just get those people that are choosing and just switch them out. Yeah. I think Grey's Anatomy won. I'm second guessing myself, and I don't want to spread misinformation.
It's okay.
So I'm going to say Grey's Anatomy might have won.
I don't
from my recollection.
I don't think we're going to get any comments on the YouTube page or any emails back saying, "Hey, listen here, Brett. Grey's Anatomy did not win." I'm giving you a 1-star review.
It was one of the long-running shows. I'm 90% sure it was Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah. So, anyways,
but that was my rant.
People's Choice Awards, get your shit together, okay? So Brett doesn't rant like that.
I wouldn't have said it so aggressively, but you should get your shit together.
I like when you get wound up. It's nice. Speaking of getting wound up, I really got to uncork this review.
Yeah, we got to get into that. I feel bad.
I'm hot and bothered.
I'm happy to be here, guys.
Sitting on top of all this.
It's going to be a bit of a longer episode because we've been gone for a while.
Yeah, we deserve it. We owe it to ourselves.
You guys should be happy that we're giving you more content. I mean, I know you've been missing the show so desperately.
I'm excited to give myself more content. More content.
Do you listen to the show?
Yeah, occasionally. Alyssa gets mad if I listen to it in the vehicle because she's like, "Oh, you're cringy."
Aw, I'm a bad host. I've only listened all the way through to I think 3 episodes, and that's been Scream, Fancasts, and then the Mario episode.
I do it just even if I'm not actually listening to it to get the numbers. I'm just kidding.
That's good business.
That's a lie.
No, man. That's hey, man. That's good business.
All right, so today we are reviewing Madam Web. As Brett said, came out on Valentine's Day, 2024, this year.
A movie for lovers.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Directed by S.J. Clarkson. This was, as far as we know, her feature-length, full-length debut. She had been relegated to mostly just different directing episodes of different shows here and there. Not her introduction to Marvel. She had directed a couple episodes of the Defenders, which I believe only had 1 season. Mm-hmm. And then she also directed a few episodes of Jessica Jones. This movie stars pretty star-studded cast here. Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, Isabella Merced, Celeste O'Connor, Tahar Rahim, and Adam Scott. I wanted to list them all because, like I said, there's a lot of pretty big names there. And I even left out, like, Emma Roberts was in this, too.
Emma Roberts being there was so funny to me. I was like, is that fucking Emma Roberts? Why is she here?
So we'll go ahead and throw her in there, too. This movie was budgeted for $80 million. Its gross worldwide thus far is $56 million. Its opening weekend was only $15 million. That's North America, U.S. and Canada.
By the end of its run, it will have made $1 web billion.
$1 web billion? Yeah. How much is that, Brett?
That's more than enough to get a sequel, hopefully.
This movie won't have a sequel. Yeah. This movie was scored by Johan Soderquist. He didn't have a picture on his IMDb. He did also score some. He's obviously from Europe. He also scored some Europe movies. I saw that he did Let the Right One In, which was a really popular vampire film from, I think it was 2008. It got remade by Matt Reeves, our dad, in 2010 called Let Me In, I think is what it was, starring Chloe Grace Moretz.
Hey!
But yeah, so this movie, I haven't looked up the plot yet, but basically, Dakota Johnson stars as the titular character, Madam Web, Cassandra Webb. She is a New York metropolis paramedic who begins to demonstrate signs of clairvoyance. She's like a medium. Forced to challenge revelations about her past, she needs to safeguard 3 young women from a deadly adversary who wants them destroyed. So basically, this movie, right from the start, is some of the worst cinema I've ever seen. It's hilarious because of this movie slow rolled into the bad production quality. I probably wouldn't have viewed it as bad, but I think some of the worst parts of this movie is in the first 10 minutes.
Dude, it's so funny.
The first 5 minutes.
like 1 minute into the movie.
Yeah.
There is, so we'll talk about this pretty extensively because it's one of the most glaring issues with this film. Mm-hmm. But just to set the stage here, a minute into this movie, we get to witness a man give like a good like 5-sentence long like dialogue scene where his mouth does not move a single time.
Yeah.
One of the first scenes in the movie is a man speaking without moving his mouth.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and say set design, but we'll throw sound design in there because that is one of the biggest problems I think with this movie. There's a lot of other problems, and after discussing
after we talk about this, I wanna take a step back and I want to talk about what we liked first. I want to be nice.
Okay, maybe that's what we should do.
Yeah, okay, we'll put a pin in that thought. Let's be nice for a minute. Let's talk about what we liked about the movie.
Okay, so typically we'll run through. We'll do setting, set design, characters, writing, screenplay, and then end with, before our final thoughts and rating, we'll talk about production and direction. But we'll just go ahead and break it down between what's good and what's bad. Okay, the things that are good. You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. There are 4 girls, and they're pretty. And
riveting stuff here.
Yeah. Okay. So the review's not great so far. I do think that this is you can tell that this movie does have something of production value. We found some cinematography that wasn't terrible. I do think some of the clairvoyancy sequences, specifically her first 2, are shot well and kind of proceed well. And I also think, I see a lot of people saying that Dakota Johnson's performance is terrible. It's not good. But I do think there are sequences where you can tell she kind of freelances, and those are the better parts of the movie. Also, I think Adam Scott is pretty good in the movie.
Yes.
The soundtrack's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. We got a lot of 2003 bangers. This movie's set in the year 2003. The song "Toxic" by Britney Spears rules. You got any more good ones?
Yeah. So just to expand on, because we like pretty much the same things about it.
Mm-hmm. Elaborate.
One of the best parts is the visuals on the CG department. Looking back to Sony's previous works in this little experiment of Spider-Man-less Spider-Man movies, of course, you'd be remiss to talk about Madame Web without mentioning the likes of Morbius. Mm-hmm. And one of the things about Morbius, which I have more to say about the sort of the connections between Morbius and Madame Web later, but one of the things Morbius did really well was the visual effects. That movie is cool to look at. Mm-hmm. I think the design of Morbius looks sick. The first scene, you didn't watch Morbius, so you don't know what I'm talking about.
I have not seen Morbius.
But every scene of him like discovering his powers is great.
That's like saying I haven't seen The Godfather.
It really is. You should work on that. I haven't seen The Godfather.
Yeah,
but I have seen Morbius. Yeah. That tells you. Number 1 film critic right here.
Yeah. Watch out, Roger Ebert.
Yeah. Did he do Godfather?
No, he's a film critic. Roger Ebert.
Oh,
he died actually.
Yeah, sorry. I thought that was the Lighthouse guy.
No, that's Robert Eggers.
Yeah, so you can see the confusion there.
Yeah, they're like this.
But Morbius, the visuals were great. Mm-hmm. The scenes of any scene of him using his powers is like a visual delight. The CG in that movie is really good, and I think because I like to find the positives in things, and I feel like that's something that went really underlooked when that movie was making its rounds. But the same goes for Madame Web. They're good with Sony has if you want to give Sony anything with these movies, their VFX teams are doing good work. Like you said, the scene where she first goes into the water and she's like discovering her powers and she has that little trip sequence. I thought all that looked great.
I think that one specifically is the one that stands out as the best.
The only time the CG gets a little muddy is near the end when all the explosions are happening.
I think that's the worst sequence.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look great there. But all the little parts are they're solid. Hard to find cracks in that. And then, like you were saying with cinematography, in this movie, it's funny because there are moments where it's like really bad, and then there are moments where they do something cool with it. It almost feels like there were two separate cinematographers working on this movie.
Right.
Which, if you know anything about the production of this movie, that very well may be true. Right.
Well, I know a lot of times that depending on the director and stuff, a lot of directors do spend stints as cinematographers. Mm-hmm. So a lot of directors will have shots that they do. Yeah. Instead of the cinematographer.
Yeah. But anytime Ezekiel is like doing Spider-Man stuff, it's shot really well. Yeah. And I think it looks really sick.
Yeah, there's the fight sequence with the cops.
Yeah. And the scene where he's running across the building sideways and then he like flips over to the other edge of it. I thought that was a really nice looking sequence.
I like the combination of cinematography / visual effects because it's probably all fucking CGI, but it shows him coming into screen, landing on the mirrored side of a building. Yeah. And when he hits that and takes off running, you don't realize it's a mirrored image until he lands on it and runs. Yeah. So I agree.
Yeah. And all the ladies in this movie are very beautiful. Yeah. And Adam Scott is also very beautiful.
Yeah, he's good looking. Some have said I look like him. I don't know.
I don't see it. I was gonna say that, and I've said this to you before. I don't see it.
I don't either.
But okay, cool.
I've had several. I mean, like
you're also very beautiful, but you don't look like Adam Scott.
First time I've met people. Thank you. First time I've met people, and they are like, "Man, you ever watch Parks and Rec?" And I'm like, I know I look like Adam Scott. Thanks.
You know what celebrity I think you look more like than Adam Scott? I think you look a lot like older Daniel Radcliffe. Like Daniel Radcliffe right now. Yeah. I think you guys have very similar structures.
He's hairy.
You're hairy. You're a very gruff man.
No.
Okay.
I guess I could do worse than Harry Potter.
That's the problem. You don't think he's attractive. You take that as an insult.
He's not that good looking.
I don't agree with that. I think Daniel Radcliffe is another beautiful man.
We'll fan cast ourselves here in a little bit. So, any more positives to say about the movie?
I had a damn good time.
Yeah, it is entertaining. I will say that.
I would watch it again. Yeah. I'd see it in theaters again, just to have that good of a time again.
I don't know if I'd watch it in theaters.
I want to pyramid scheme other people into just watching it with me.
I would suggest somebody. You have to see it to believe it.
Oh, absolutely.
You can. So I think the buck stops there though with positives. Let's get real here.
Yeah, all right. Let's tear this shit apart.
Okay, this movie is not good. You can tell it is a product of a company that owns rights to characters that is just pumping something out just for the sake of keeping the rights to the characters. I told Brett that. I think that the sound design and the ADR is the worst thing about the movie.
Oh, dude, it is.
And it really is bad. And a lot of it is restricted to the stick figure that is the villain in this movie.
That's a good way to say that.
He's like, enter bad guy. Yeah. And nobody, I don't know the fucking guy's name, right? It's Ezekiel.
It's Ezekiel Sims.
Yeah. He doesn't even have a cool bad guy name. Like the spider guy, like whatever. Ceiling Man is what they call him in the movie.
He's some sort of like spider person.
Yeah. And we'll get to that. We'll get to all the dancing around of phrases. But Brett pointed out the worst thing about this movie is not that ADR, which happens to more than just the bad guy. It's probably the way the film is written and the dialogue, and you combine this movie, it like threads the needle on not only being written poorly, but the actors just delivering the screenplay like shit.
Yeah, it's like the writing on this, and benefit of the doubt, credit where it's due. The writing process for this movie is notoriously been tumultuous. The story of this film shifted so drastically from its original development into what was filmed and put to screen, which is almost definitely where a ton of that ADR shit comes in.
Right.
I'm gonna burp.
And that's not always, something that happens a lot more often than what we realize. Oh yeah. But then we didn't even talk about this until I'm going to bring it up right now. Like, who edited this movie?
Dude, I was going to mention the editing.
Yeah.
The editing is insane. Again, first 5 minutes of the movie, there is a cut that is so hilariously jarring.
Yeah.
That it caught me so off guard. The Madam Web's mom is in the middle of a sentence, and then it cuts from like she doesn't finish her sentence, and it immediately cuts into her going into labor, right? But it's like it's not smooth, right? That's not how the scene was written.
Yeah.
The scene, her original dialogue was not supposed to end there.
Yeah.
It just cuts off.
It's
like,
bad.
She's like, "You have no idea what I'm." But it's like. So it is such a drastic and noticeable cut of two completely unrelated moments.
You know, something else I noticed too, and just to talk about the sound design a little bit more of why it's just terrible, is like whenever he shoots the gun at the start of the movie, and then like when they're the balloon, we never did get an answer for why those balloons were randomly popping,
dude.
At the baby shower.
Yeah,
and then it like. They were so fucking loud.
They were popping specifically so they couldn't say Peter Parker.
They sounded like they were bass boosted, like like it sucked.
Oh man.
But yeah, the writing and the screenplay is terrible.
So originally, I don't know if you knew this, because I follow things a little more closely than you do, just because I have more time on my hands.
Yeah.
So the original plot for this movie, when it was first put into development, was that Madam Web's goal was to protect Mary Parker, Emma Roberts, from Ezekiel Sims. He wanted to kill her so he could stop Spider-Man from being born.
Terminator.
Yeah, but, through studio meddling, whatever happened behind the scenes that we were not there for, it shifted into this Spider-Girl plot line, which is almost definitely where all of the ADR comes from. For those of you who do not know what ADR is, I don't know what it stands for. I don't know what the acronym is for. But ADR is the process of recording dialogue separately from what is being shown on screen and adding it later in post. So if you've ever watched a movie or a TV show where someone's mouth is not directly on screen, chances are 9 times out of 10 that their dialogue that they are currently speaking in that scene was recorded after the fact and then added over in post.
And ADR is used a lot.
Oh, all the time. ADR is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But when it is done poorly, it is painfully noticeable.
Yeah.
Now, take a moment to reflect on the fact that I said when a person's mouth is not on screen is when ADR can be done well. The people behind Madam Web apparently forgot that fact because almost every line the villain says in this movie is ADR.
Yeah.
I would argue that maybe everything he said is ADR.
It's almost everything he says.
Almost every time, his mouth is either not moving on screen. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That blows my mind that made it past anybody in the editing room.
Well, they probably didn't care. They did not care.
And then when the few times his mouth is moving and is on screen, he's so obviously not saying what his words are being heard as.
Yeah.
Like, it's baffling.
Me and you were cackling
Dude,
within the first,
I was
30
losing
seconds,
my
man.
mind. How making movies is hard.
Yeah.
Making anything is hard. I don't know who said this. It's a quote from somewhere. I did not come up with this quote. But someone once said, the fact that any movie ever releases is a miracle.
Yeah.
Because there's so many moving parts, so many people it has to go through, so many individuals doing different jobs that all need to come together into a end product. So, but all that aside, you got to put your foot down at some point and say, like, someone is not doing their job well enough in this pipeline. Because there is no reason this should have made it to theaters in the state that it's in. And
it's not like Sony's not a huge brand. Like, this is a big company.
Yeah.
And you can't tell me that their standard is that low.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to move on to some of the other things that are terrible, this movie is just littered with nonsensical logic and plot holes. Now, granted, don't get me wrong. We know that, it is a superhero movie. Mm-hmm. We get that.
Yeah.
But there's just some flat out things that are ignored or people just don't care whenever they're making this movie.
My favorite character in the film is definitely Madam Web's stolen taxi cab.
Yeah.
It's my favorite character in the whole movie. MVP, really.
Yeah, we thought that she was going to drive this fucking thing to Peru at one point.
Yeah.
And so that's another... Yeah, she goes to Peru randomly in the middle of the movie for a week and then comes back.
Yeah, despite being a wanted fugitive.
Yeah.
She is wanted by the law and somehow booked a plane ticket to Peru, there and back, while driving a stolen taxi cab. Dude, I can't get over the fucking cab.
Yeah.
So about halfway through the movie, to get away from the stealing guy, Madam Web steals a man's taxi cab because she's not a good person. But she steals this guy's taxi and she leaves with it, right? And then they go out of their way to show us her removing the plates of this taxi cab that she stole. Like, it's not a numbered fucking taxi cab. The plates are not the only thing that identifies this car as not belonging to you.
And I think some of those cabs have like tracking systems and stuff.
Yeah,
they may not have back in 2003.
Yeah, maybe not. I wasn't there in 2003 in New York in a cab.
Right.
That is, I was there in 2003.
She drives this thing around for
the whole movie.
Yeah.
Just everywhere. She doesn't even try to hide it.
It's
she drives
insanity.
it. It is implied that she drives it to the airport.
Yeah.
And then leaves it there.
Yeah.
And then comes back in it after she gets back from Peru.
She's basically like
And no
a
one
Grand Theft
finds
Auto
it.
character in this movie.
Yeah, she does. She steals multiple vehicles in this film.
Yeah, and then commits manslaughter with said vehicles and just runs people over. And Dakota Johnson, I've never really seen her in anything. I didn't want.
Dude, I was gonna say me neither.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of the 50 Shades movies. I haven't seen anything else she's been in, and I've heard she's not a great actress.
Almost everything I've seen her in has been interviews.
Yeah. She comes off charismatic in some scenes in this movie, but those are only the ones that we feel like she's freelancing and just making up her own lines.
Yeah.
And throughout the movie, her character is not displayed as likable at all.
No, dude, she's so fucking mean to these kids.
Really, none of the characters are likable. Adam Scott as Ben is maybe the only likable character. I don't think any of the three girls, Sydney Sweeney's character, Isabella Merced's character, or Celeste O'Connor's character, I don't think any of the three are likable, whereas they are just cookie cutter
Yeah, they were fine. The only one with any semblance of personality was Maddie Franklin.
Yeah.
Who is, what was her name?
Celeste O'Connor.
Celeste
is the
O'Connor.
actress' name, yeah.
Who I've never heard of, but I thought she was fine.
Yeah.
I
think she tried her best out of the three.
Yeah, bad performances are kind of a hard thing to calculate because there's so many things that go into that, right? It's like, some people are just bad actors. Like let's face it, some people are just not great at the craft. But
Right.
a lot of a performance is on the director's side, right?
Right.
Because I've said this before. I'm a very big believer that anyone can act, right? Because everyone knows how to exist, right? Everyone knows how to be a person. Like, that's not difficult to do.
That's a good way to put it.
So, everyone knows how to be a person, right? So it takes a good director to just try to bring that out of people.
Right.
Or if you're up against something you're not sure how to do, it's the director's job to guide you to that aha moment where it's like, okay, I think I can get this. So, and a lot of it also comes into bad takes. There's a YouTuber, Cosmonaut Marcus. Shout out him. I love him. I don't know if you ever watched him.
Shout out Cosmonaut.
Cosmonaut Variety Hour on YouTube.
I have not watched him, but I know you've watched a lot.
Yeah,
of him.
he has a video on the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, right, where he points out that a lot of the scenes that are bad in the Joss Whedon cut aren't really changed in the Snyder cut, but just use different takes of the actors.
Okay.
And it's better.
I never realized that.
Yeah. Like, take choice is a huge thing that can sort of shape your perception of an actor's performance. So it's a lot of it goes into it. But that being said, the performances of this movie do leave a lot to be desired. On the topic of Dakota Johnson, though, I was telling you, I think it's funny that a lot of people are saying that. Again, I haven't seen her in a lot of stuff, but from what I have seen her in, I don't even think it's a bad performance thing, because if you watch a lot of interviews with her, she just talks like that.
Yeah.
That everything she does, that's just how she sounds in real life. There's a really funny house tour thing that she did for True TV or something, and the set dressers put a bowl of limes in her kitchen.
Why?
And it was just a bowl full of limes that wasn't there before in her kitchen because she doesn't like limes that much. And there's an interview she does. Well, during the house tour, she like picks up the bowl and she's like, I just love limes. I just like to keep this bowl of limes here because I love limes. And then she did an interview after the fact and she was like, I don't like limes. She's like, set dressers put that there and I just couldn't ignore it because it was so jarring to have just a bowl of limes on the counter. And then that's
such a weird like accent thing too. Who would just have a bowl of limes sitting out?
But then there's the notorious Ellen moment where Ellen's like, your birthday party was recently and you didn't invite me. And she goes, no, Ellen, that's not true. You were invited. So it's just the way she talks is so unique to her. And like she does that in all of her movies. So it's like, I don't even know if that's a performance thing.
I've never watched that Ellen interview.
I think that's just, you should check it out. So like, I think that's just the way Dakota Johnson is.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, I don't think she was the worst performance by any means, but I mean, really there's no quality performances. And even like Adam Scott, I know we keep saying he's not, he's pretty good, but he really does. He's really not giving. Yeah,
he's
much
just kind of there, right? Like
anyway.
he's not like he doesn't have to strain his muscles in this movie.
Right. Yeah. Outside of the plot holes, what else sucks in this movie? There's the action. There's one sequence that's okay. The ceiling man suit looks cool.
Yes. Ezekiel Sims' spider suit is kind of badass.
Yeah, it fucks. It looks pretty good. It's like that nice combo that we enjoy of black with red, and it's just like funny too.
No explanation for why he has that though, or why he feels the need to dress up.
Well, and it's funny too because it's like it's so weird to see a dude that looks like Spider-Man. Yeah. Not doing anything with webs at all. Like he didn't unlock that perk yet.
No, he does not have webs. He does have poison fingers though.
Yeah.
Which all the spider... Oh yeah, by the way, there's a tribe of Spider-Men in Peru that dress up like Tobey Maguire in their spare time. Okay, well, they dress up like Tobey Maguire in the 1970s. All right, in 2003, he dresses like a hipster youth pastor. I don't know. Why did they put him in that outfit? Why was he not just wearing the spider gear? He's got a fucking ascot on.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what is that like what you wear when you're out on the rainforest on an expedition?
It's just such a strange choice. But yeah, so there's spider people in Peru. And so the spiders in Peru give you superpowers. They're not radioactive. They just can do that, I guess.
That Peruvian magic.
Yeah. And they make you walk on walls and give you super strength and give you poison hands. And so that's what Ezekiel has.
They give you clairvoyancy.
Yes, but not at the same time. And you can either get Spider-Man powers or clairvoyance.
You get the like self-cloning jutsu too, apparently, in the climactic ending.
Yeah, so Cassandra, despite being born under the same bite of the same spider, does not get Spider-Man powers. She gets a completely different set of powers that are just for her, I guess.
Yeah. Like none of the like super strength, none of the wall crawling.
Yeah, none of it. She can just see slightly into the future sometimes. And
yeah, she doesn't get to pick and choose.
Yeah. And shadow clone jutsu.
Yeah, like Naruto up in this motherfucker.
Yeah. Which is kind of cool. And the visuals on the shadow clone jutsu were pretty cool.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think that some of the sequences of the clairvoyancy, I just like saying that word. It's fun. Those don't look bad. The final act of this movie, the big showdown at the end, I tell you what, I was dying for a Pepsi by the conclusion of this film. Another thing, this movie is just like, the Pepsi must be in their back pocket because everybody was drinking Pepsis.
This is sort of, and we talked about this before, I have no problem with product placement. I never have.
Right.
I don't know exactly why people see it as such a negative.
I don't see it as a negative. I just think it's something, this movie already has problems, so it's something else you can make fun of.
Yeah, but again, I just don't see it. Like, so the bad guy is killed by a giant falling Pepsi sign, which people...
It's the way he would have wanted to do.
Yeah, which people point out as like, oh my God, all this product placement. But like... Pepsi exists. You know, we have Pepsi. If it was like, I don't think it would hit as hard if it was like just some like bullshit made up thing.
It makes it a little more realistic.
Yeah. So I have no problem with product placement, but there is a lot of Pepsi products in this. There's one shot where there's a Mountain Dew bottle out of focus, but it's also like the brightest thing in that shot.
Yeah.
So you can it grabbed my eye.
Whenever they were first got back to the hospital and she goes and buys them 2 cans of pop out of the vending machine, they were Mountain Dews. It was like Mountain Dew Code Red or something too. It was like some weird different type of Mountain Dew. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than generally just to wrap up my opinion. It's entertaining because it sucks. That the performances are not good. The writing is worse than the performances. Mm-hmm. It has some cool sequences. I think the suits. Oh yeah, let's talk about that. So like in the trailers and stuff, you would think that at some point all these girls get their spider powers and are badass spider women, and we were robbed of that.
Yeah, all the stuff with them in the costumes is from a single 2-minute dream sequence.
Right. and it's And I think their costumes suck. I don't think you thought they sucked that bad.
I didn't hate them. I like them. I like that they're practical. I think it's so funny that for all the MCU Spider-Man stuff, he like barely ever wears an actual fucking suit.
Yeah, that sucks.
But for the 2-minute dream sequence in Madam Web, they constructed these very intricately designed practical suits to put these girls in.
I don't like the masks. They don't hide any identity.
Yeah, Sydney Sweeney's costume as her spider persona is definitely the best of the 3. I think Isabella Merced's is the worst because it doesn't really read as a spider at all. Mm-hmm. She kind of looks like Dove from Titans.
Okay, like Hawk and Dove.
She like her costume is very Dove-like, and then Maddie's costume is blue and red. Points there.
Yeah,
and then it's got the dude. They give her this fucking afro for her like Spider-Girl persona, which I thought was really lame because the hairstyle she rocks for like the entire movie is so much cooler and suits her so much better than that afro does.
I agree.
So that was kind of weird that they did that to her. But yeah, so they don't get their powers at all. They do not wear those suits physically in the movie, like within the like continuity of the film. They don't wear those suits. Dakota Johnson gets a suit that's like shot like a fucking like CoverGirl America's Top Model like intro video, or like a WrestleMania like intro thing that they would play on the screens as someone walks by. She's like modeling the costume over her monologue at the end.
So at the end of the movie, after like when she becomes blind because she gets like nuked in the face with a firework,
and it also paralyzes her.
So first off, this thing, I guess it broke into 2 different separate fireworks, like scattershot, and got both of her eyes.
No,
it didn't just hit one of them.
No, it only hit one side of her face.
Well, and then when they get her out and she opens her eyes,
she's got the blind eyes.
Yeah, and she's got this the tissue's already scarred across her face,
across her whole face. It literally, from the looks of it, from what is shot and shown to us in the movie, this firework, she's in the water. This firework grazes over like the right side of her face, and then she's pulled out of the water, and she has giant. It's already scarred over. It's the wound scarred over the moment it touched her, apparently, and then it gives her the stereotypical glazed over blind person eyes. Hunter had a really funny joke. I said, "Why did it do that to her eyes?" And Hunter said, "Don't you know all blind people have eyes like that?"
Because she's blind. Like, come on. If you're blind, you got those eyes.
How else would we have known that it blinded her?
Just like if you're blind, you have to wear very big jet black sunglasses at all times. And like I do love Dakota Johnson for like the final like 5 minutes of this movie
because she doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, she is really just like
she does not give a shit,
throwing shit at the wall,
and she doesn't give a shit, dude. If I need you to go through in your spare time and like watch just any of the press for this movie that she's in, she does not give a fuck, dude. That's awesome. So funny.
Yeah,
it is so funny.
Yeah, kudos to her.
So she earns her blindness and her wheelchair. I don't know why the firework paralyzes her. It is not explained. We don't even know that she's paralyzed until the final pan-up reveal of her wheelchair, which made me lose my mind. I was like, no fucking way.
So this movie, because we're going to wrap up here, but this movie, it does hold entertainment value. I can't take that away from it.
It's so funny.
I don't want to give it a good score and say that people should watch it, but with that said, I will not. If you value a good movie and you know how to find enjoyment from terrible movies, you should watch this. It's funny. It is
so
the
bad
best
kind of bad.
So bad it's good.
It is the best kind of bad movie. It is up there with your Catwomans, your Rooms, your Daredevils. It is like I think this has I wish this was the one that got all the meme hype over Morbius. Like this one did get a little bit of meme hype, but not nearly as much as Morbius got. I wish this would have been the one.
What movie is worse, this or Morbius?
Oh, absolutely Morbius.
Really?
I'm going to touch more on that in my wrap up.
Well, I think that because see, I'm just thinking of this because we were talking about this movie earlier, but like I would rather rewatch this than Midsummer probably because at least this movie didn't bore me.
Yeah.
Now with that said, it's still not a good film, and if I'm going to try and find like a happy middle on that, I keep bouncing around in my mind with 3.75, but I think I'm only doing that because that's what the Metacritic score on IMDb is right now. So I'm going to bump it up a little bit. I'm going to give it about a 4.25. You like I said, it's a terrible movie. I would not sit down and watch this by myself maybe again, but had the bros over for some beers to laugh at something.
Yeah,
definitely could throw this on. So yeah, 4.25 out of 10.
Yeah, guys, this is the most fun I have had watching a movie in so long. This is the best kind of bad movie. I could rag on it endlessly. No, it's not something I'm going to watch again by myself. Like that's a great point, but with a group of friends, to just let them experience this masterclass of cinema is something that cannot be understated. I've heard a lot of people saying that it's worse than Morbius. I don't know where you get that from. Yeah. Morbius is bad because it's boring. Morbius is bad because it's formulaic. It does nothing fun, right? It is not a fun bad movie. Morbius is just a bad movie.
Yeah.
This is something special.
Yeah.
I think in a few years down the line, this will reach cult classic status. I think it'll deserve it.
I think you're right. I think it's going to be heralded just like The Room is.
Yes.
Or Batman and Robin.
Yes.
I'll be honest. I think I would rather watch Batman and Robin than this, but it's on that same level.
It is. It's close to it. I will say the modernisms of the movie definitely take, because a lot of what makes Catwoman and Batman and Robin, like putting them on that separate level, is definitely like the time period that
Products
they were released in.
Period, yeah.
That's why I think like this one needs a few years to reach that entirely.
Although needs to marinate a little bit.
Although I don't know exactly if it will, because advancements like that have sort of plateaued, sort of like both in film and video game. It's something we talked about before. So I don't know. If it'll ever reach the Batman and Robin or Catwoman status, but it's in that same vein. And to have something in that same vein release in the year of our Lord 2024, is something very special to me. So I'm going to give Madam Web a 10 out of 10. I'm not joking. That is not ironic. You need to watch it. It needs to be seen to believed, and you need to watch it with friends. You need to get your friends over. You need to go to the theater, and you need to sit down and you need to prepare yourself for cinema.
See, I was right. I knew you would do this. I knew you would give it a good score.
He did say I would give it a good score, but it's not because I actually think it's a good movie, but as an experience and just for what it is, just the fact that it made it to us at all in the state that it's in, I enjoyed my time.
You are right. It is mind-blowing. It is absolutely mind-blowing.
It is.
That so many people just said, yeah, just release it.
Yeah, just put it out. Fuck it, man. It's Madam Web. Who's going to see it?
Yeah, put it out. Like, that's crazy.
One couple minor things before we say our goodbyes, though. One nitpick that I have that I don't think anyone else would care about or notice. When she is testing out the fact that she can change her visions, right? She can influence the future. A bird flies into her window and it dies. And then she opens the window and the bird's gone. And instead of that being a smooth transition of the bird disappearing as the window opens, there's a very harsh cut
Yeah.
And that pissed me off.
Some more of that poor editing.
Yeah, because that was a moment to like do some like that was a sauce moment. That was a moment to add some sauce, and they squandered it.
That scene wasn't bad either.
No, I like that scene. Like I said, total nitpick.
Well, that, and then like if we're gonna talk about that nitpick for that, because I think that could have been a good scene. It was a good scene.
Yeah,
but that, and then you also add on the fact, like I told you, I was like, she didn't have to tell us.
Yeah, she like looks the audience in the eye and is like, I can affect the visions.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just fucking did. We saw it. We all saw.
Yeah.
But just like that irked me from like because it's like that would have been so sick if it was just like as the window opened, the bird like did a wipe and it was gone with it, and then she pulls it back down and then the crack is gone. But there's just like a weird like millisecond harsh cut there. And then one other thing that does need to be touched on is that this movie is fucking allergic to Spider-Man. This movie doesn't want you to know anything about Spider-Man.
We didn't bring that up. It's almost like is there like legalities?
I don't think
they can't.
I don't know. I don't know if it's that they can't or that they don't want to.
I mean, I thought Spider-Man was more of a Sony product really than it was an MCU.
Yeah, I was under the impression that Sony was lending Spider-Man to Marvel. Right? But now it feels like I think Disney might have negotiated a bigger chunk of that pie with the MCU stuff because but I don't know because Venom is in No Way Home.
Right.
And Tom Holland is in Venom 2.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's a legality thing or if it's just like they personally don't want to. But there are so many moments of this movie where and it also could just be like a bait thing. Like, oh, we almost said it. Oh, we almost did it.
Yeah.
Oh, you know this. And then, dude, there's a line in this movie. They do their own spin on "with great power comes great responsibility."
Yeah, they let Yoda say it.
Yeah, they flip it, which defeats the entire purpose of the quote. They said, "With great power," or no. When you take on responsibility, you may find great power. The fuck does that mean?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
What does that mean?
And
that's
so
a nothing
lazy
sentence.
Yeah, it's so lazy.
And then there are all the stuff with Uncle Ben is so funny. It's so funny. Oh, what? You never been shot at in Queens before? Oh, guys, do you get it? He dies. He fucking dies in Queens.
I still love like me. So me and Brett, whenever we got out of this, we just spent like 30 minutes just going through Twitter and just laughing at all the memes about this. And like I love the ones about like, so if she can see into the future, why would she not, see Ben getting shot?
Yeah,
and stop.
She's gonna let him die.
So.
Or maybe Spider-Man doesn't exist in this universe. Maybe it's just the girls. We don't know because that's another thing. It's not connected. That's another thing during the rewrites. It was originally supposed to be connected to the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. And then somewhere along the line, they were like, let's not do that. We're going to make it its own thing, which I'm glad it did because, trust me, the Amazing Spider-Man franchise does not need anything else attached to it that's going to bog it down. But so maybe he doesn't become Spider-Man. Who are we speaking of that might become Spider-Man? I don't know because they never once say his name.
Yeah.
They go out of their way to make sure that they don't say his name.
Yeah, they won't say Peter Parker.
One of our mysteriously exploding balloons exists solely to keep her from saying the word Peter.
Right.
And then another thing with Uncle Ben, which I thought was funny, he mentions Aunt May, but does not say her name. He cannot say that he says, I'm seeing someone, or I've met someone. And Dakota Johnson's like, oh my goodness, what's her name? And he just doesn't fucking answer
He's
her.
just like, this one's
she's
special.
Like, who talks like that? Why is he gatekeeping his girlfriend's name from his from his best friend?
Anybody else would be like, what a weirdo.
Yeah, right? Like, why is he being such a freak about it?
It's not how people talk.
Dude, so much of this movie that's not how people talk.
Yeah. This thing was screen writ by AI.
And then the spider person line. They're like, oh, he's like some sort of man with spider powers. Some sort of spider person.
Yeah.
But they almost said it. It's so funny, man. Go fucking see this. Go see Madam Web.
Yeah, I think that's one thing me and you can both agree on. It's worth watching. For sure.
You will have if you allow yourself to have fun, because we could be here and be like, oh, cinema is dying. Products like this are bringing the industry down. Dude, have fun. have a good time. There are so many good movies that are also happening. One stinker that still brings joy is not gonna ruin the world.
Nah, you're always gonna have your bad movies, you know. So, but it was fun to rip this one up a little bit, and also talk about the value it does have and the place it does take in the world of cinema. As quaint as that might be, but yeah, Brett. Glad to be back.
I'm so happy to be. I don't know if you could tell.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this episode.
Very exciting. Very glad to, we haven't really had any reviews in the past where we just kind of shit on a movie.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun, man. I'm glad we got back into it.
I'm going to start holding the microphone more. I think it brings out more of, it allows me to be more free with because, it's hard because I'm the color, the personality hire. Before when I had my mic stationary, I had to like be in one spot. But now when I hold it, I can bring more of me to the table.
With that big, like, mic cover, I don't know what you call the foam around it. You look like an old, like, 1978, like, game show host. With
yeah.
It. Yeah, but, so, work in progress, but we'll carry on. I believe you'll be picking out the movie next time we record, so think of something.
We'll see you guys in 2026. Thank you so much for watching. It's been great to be here. You've been a wonderful audience.
We will hopefully have something out sooner than 2026. We will shoot to try to get back into the 2-week thing here. So every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I had a great time. Thank you for this. This is great.
Brett, do we still have socials?
We do.
Can you wrap that up?
I will also say, not to put all the blame on Hunter. I'm a terrible social media manager. I don't know how to do it. I've never been into social media as like a platform for like growth. So like I don't really know the ins and outs. I don't post anything anywhere. So that's my bad. I want to get better at it, but I'm not good at it. I might have to offshoot that to someone else. But we do have them if you want to follow us on anything. Our YouTube is Real Rendezvous at youtube.com. Our Twitter is Real Rendezvous at twitter.com. And our Instagram is Real Rendezvous at instagram.com. And that is all one word, no spaces, spelled exactly as you would think those words are spelled and have always been spelled.
All right, Brett. Great, man. We'll get back at it later.
Bye, guys.
All right. Everybody have a good one.